It's because of all this and more that nobody wants to buy hybrid cars anymore. A lot of people tell me here that they never want to have a hybrid car again because of the absurd expenses they're having with them. And I'm not just talking about the mechanical side of the car. Some people report that they're paying a much higher amount for hybrid vehicle insurance. Those numbers shock people who are about to switch from a gas car to a hybrid. There are also people who don't even know whether they're supposed to plug the hybrid in and doubt there's even a good option out there, even knowing that giant brands like Toyota and Lexus are always so highly praised. So stick with me, and if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a good time because we cover exactly this kind of thing every single week. A guy reached out to me a few weeks ago. Mid-40s, works in construction, not the type obsessed with spec sheets, just a regular buyer trying to make a smart decision. He bought a Jeep Wrangler 4xe 2 years ago, a plug-in hybrid, paid a real premium over the gas version because the dealer told him he'd basically never buy gas again for his daily commute. 18 months later, the high-voltage battery started throwing error codes. The service department's response, not covered, outside the specific failure window. Here's your estimate. That estimate topped $6,000. That's not bad luck. That's not a fluke. That's a system working exactly the way it was designed to work, just not in his favor. There's a large-scale study out of Germany tracking real-world data from close to 1 million plug-in hybrids built over the last several years. No lab conditions, no controlled test loop, just actual people driving actual cars. The manufacturers are advertising fuel economy figures that translate to somewhere close to 100 miles per gallon. That's the number on the window sticker. That's the number the salesperson says out loud with a straight face. The real-world average across that entire data set comes in closer to 40 miles per gallon. Sit with that for a second. 40 miles per gallon isn't bad on its own, but it's roughly a third of what was promised because the gas engine kicks in far more than any lab test accounts for. Cold mornings, highway merging, hard acceleration, all of it pulls the combustion engine back into the picture, and when it fires up to recharge the battery quickly, it burns gas at a rate nobody put in the brochure. Here's something that almost nobody brings up until it's too late, and it's exactly what caught the guy with the Wrangler off guard. Hybrid and plug-in hybrid battery packs are typically warranted for 8 years or 100,000 miles, down to 70% remaining capacity. Once you're past that line, you're on your own, and the replacement cost isn't small. On a Toyota RAV4 hybrid, one of the most popular hybrids on American roads, a new battery from Toyota runs anywhere from $3,000 to $9,000 before labor. Remanufactured units start closer to $2,000. If you're shopping used, and a lot of people are right now because the used hybrid market is genuinely flooded, you need to know exactly where that car sits relative to its warranty window, because that $500 a month deal you think you're getting can turn into a $7,000 surprise on a random Tuesday. Now let's talk about the math the dealership never actually walks you through, even though they absolutely could. Most hybrid trims carry a price premium of $3,000 to $6,000 over the equivalent gas model, sometimes more. That premium has to be earned back in fuel savings before the hybrid ever actually saves you a dollar. Run the numbers honestly. Say you're saving $40 a month in gas, which is a generous estimate for a lot of commutes. At a $4,000 premium, that's 100 months to break even. That's over 8 years. The average American holds onto a car for a little over 6 years. Read those two numbers together for a second. Most hybrid buyers are paying a premium that, statistically, they'll never fully recover because they trade the car in before the math ever turns in their favor. The dealer already got their margin. The manufacturer already got their premium. The only person left holding the risk in that transaction is you. And this is where it gets genuinely interesting because the story isn't the same for every brand, and the comments on videos like this one make that painfully obvious. There's a guy who says he spent decades as a Toyota technician, and I'll be upfront. He defends that brand with his teeth bared, so take it with a grain of salt. But even accounting for the bias, what he says lines up with what the actual data shows. He talks about Toyota hybrids routinely clearing 200, even 300,000 miles without major drama. The failures he does see tend to trace back to specific causes, not random bad luck. A cooling fan clogged with dog hair and dust choking off airflow to the high-voltage battery, physical impact from a collision that the electronics don't tolerate well, or a car that's been sitting unused for months at a time. None of that is the battery just quietly giving up for no reason. It's almost always something specific, and often something preventable. Then there's a Lexus owner who jumped into the comments to push back hard on the whole premise. He's driving a hybrid with over 200 horsepower, says he drives it harder than most people would, and he's still pulling 44 miles per gallon on his regular commute, 55 on a recent long trip. Lexus backs the battery with a 15-year warranty, and realistically, a battery like that probably has a usable life closer to 17 or 20 years before it actually needs replacing. His point, and it's a fair one, is that if you buy a Toyota or a Lexus hybrid, you can do it with real confidence, and the Honda hybrid system has a similar reputation for going the distance. Somebody else in the comments backed that up with their own story, a 2005 Prius still running strong at 21 years old, doing his own oil changes, basically driving itself into old age at this point. So here's the pattern that starts to emerge once you actually read through what real owners are saying instead of just the marketing copy. It's not hybrids are bad. It's not hybrids are great either. It's that the brand matters enormously, and so does how the car is actually used. Toyota and Lexus hybrids, and by most accounts Honda's system too, show up over and over with owners reporting genuinely excellent long-term reliability. Meanwhile, Consumer Reports flagged the Ford Escape plug-in hybrid as one of the least reliable compact SUVs in their entire survey, with owners specifically pointing to EV battery issues requiring replacement. That's not really a Ford problem specifically, it's a complexity problem. Stack a high-voltage battery, power inverters, an electric motor, and a gas engine into the same vehicle, and you haven't made the car simpler. You've made it dramatically more complex, and more complexity means more potential failure points. Full stop. There's another cost buried in this that almost nobody talks about until it shows up on their renewal notice. Insurance on hybrids runs anywhere from 5 to 15% higher than the gas-only equivalent of the same car. Insurers already price in the cost of repairing or replacing that battery system after an accident, and that cost gets passed straight to you every single month, whether you ever actually need a repair or not. It's a quiet number that never shows up in any fuel savings calculator, and it should. And then there's the plug-in specific problem, the one that honestly makes me want to reach through the screen sometimes. A meaningful number of plug-in hybrid owners simply don't plug the car in. They bought the plug-in specifically for the electric range, paid the premium for it, and then treat it like a regular hybrid because charging feels like one more chore at the end of a long day. If you're not plugging it in, you are, by definition, hauling around a heavier car with a bigger battery, getting worse gas mileage than a standard hybrid would give you, while still carrying all the extra complexity and all the extra repair risk. That's not the car failing you. That's the car doing exactly what a plug-in hybrid does when nobody plugs it in. And since I brought it up earlier, let's actually answer the question a lot of you have. Yes, you can plug a plug-in hybrid into a regular household outlet, the same one you'd use for a lamp or a toaster. No special installation required. The catch is speed. On a standard 110-volt outlet, most plug-in hybrids take somewhere between 5 and 12 hours for a full charge, depending on battery size. That's fine if you plug in overnight and never think about it again. It's not fine if you're expecting to top off in 20 minutes like a gas station stop. If you actually want a fast charge, something closer to 2 or 3 hours, you need a level 2 charger, which typically runs on a 240-volt circuit, the same kind of outlet your dryer uses. Installing one at home usually costs somewhere between $600 and $2,000 depending on your electrical panel and how far the charger sits from it. So the honest answer is yes, a regular outlet works, it's just slow, and that slowness is exactly why so many owners give up on plugging in altogether after the first few weeks. Depreciation is the last piece of this, and it might be the one that stings the most over the next couple of years. Standard hybrids, particularly Toyota and Lexus, have historically held their value well. A Camry hybrid can carry a 5-year residual value north of 65%, which is strong by any measure. Plug-in hybrids are a different story, and the market is starting to shift underneath them. As more buyers understand the real-world fuel economy gap, and as battery replacement costs become common knowledge instead of a nasty surprise, used PHEV values are expected to soften noticeably. If you buy a plug-in today at a real premium, hold it 3 or 4 years, and then try to sell it, you could find yourself in an uncomfortable spot. The person who sold it to you already got their money. You're the one left holding whatever's left of the value. So where does that actually leave you, if you're standing on a lot right now trying to decide? If you're looking at a standard Toyota or Honda hybrid, a RAV4 hybrid, a Camry hybrid, a CR-V hybrid, and you spend a lot of time in stop-and-go city traffic, and you tend to keep vehicles for the long haul, buying new and staying inside that warranty window, the financial case genuinely holds up. These are fundamentally solid, well-proven vehicles, and the people defending them in the comments, even the ones with an obvious soft spot for the brand, are backed up by the actual reliability data. But if you're being pulled toward a plug-in hybrid purely because of a fuel economy number that a million vehicle study just quietly disproved, don't let that number make the decision for you. Run your own real numbers. Price the eventual battery replacement into the equation from day one. Calculate your actual break-even point instead of trusting the one on the sticker. And if you're shopping used, especially a plug-in with anything over 80,000 miles, get a full hybrid health inspection before you sign anything, and price a potential battery replacement directly into your offer, because somebody's going to pay for that battery eventually, and it should be reflected in what you're willing to pay today, not discovered after the fact. The hybrid isn't dead, and it shouldn't be. But the blind faith, the assumption that any hybrid from any brand automatically saves you money and never gives you trouble, that needs to end, because that's exactly the story that got the guy with the Wrangler a $6,000 bill he never saw coming. If this helped you make sense of what you're actually looking at next time you're on a lot, do me a favor and hit subscribe, because we're breaking down exactly this kind of thing every single week. No sponsor softening the message, just the numbers and the real stories behind them. Drop a comment and tell me which hybrid you're driving or thinking about buying, because honestly, some of the best information in this video came straight from people just like you in the comments section, and I read every single one.